Right. Is this working? Who knows that this works? Is this working? Oh, it is working. It's working. I'm listening to myself working. Oh my god. I did not think that would work. Shit. Okay. Bear with me. There's not an actual bear with me. That's good. You're going to hear me listening to me for a second. But that's what you always wanted anyway. Right, let's get rid of some of this. I got about 30 different windows open, all with my stream on it. So I switched over from YouTube Stream Now to YouTube Events because things. Because that's what it sort of wanted you to do. It wanted me to do. So maybe that's good. Close this one. I didn't not think that would work. Right. Oh no. Not listening to me, listening to me. Oh my god. Oh. Thought I'd muted myself for some reason, but I just paused the video. Let's get rid of this. If I refresh this panel, will it break everything? I suppose we don't know until we try. Refresh. Oh no, it didn't break everything, I don't think. Do a quick FAP check, board. No worries. I'm not doing anything inappropriate. I think all my specialist mails interest tabs are closed. That's good. That's good. I don't think I need this open. Oh, wow. Okay. So I've got like a new YouTube tab thing going on. You big, beautiful potato. Can't even see my potato-ness at the moment. My potato-osity. Oh, bear with me. Bear with me. There's a hot... Rawr! The sound of it. I said a bears with me. No, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, let's just see if this works. Hey. How's it going? Hope everyone is good. I'm going to reduce the sound of my headphones. I'm going to increase that so you've got a little bit of background music. I'm Board Gamer. Hope you're doing well. I'm trying a new way of doing streams to YouTube with the YouTube stuff because I was on the old classic studio. They keep on updating this new beta studio or this new studio, which isn't so new anymore. It's sort of like been rolled out largely. And I went, oh, it was asking me to do Copa on my stream, saying, "Are you appropriate for children?" I was like, "Oh, I'm probably appropriate for them, but it's not. My channel is this stream is certainly not intended for children, unless you can think that man babies that like play a lot of computer games, such as myself, are children." Yeah, so I think that's all working. So thank you for plowing through that with me. Very much appreciated. If you've got any questions for me during the stream, I will answer pretty much anything. associated with anything. I might not know the answer, but I will give it a damn good go. And my specialist subjects being myself, some YouTube stuff, probably Star Citizen. But feel free to ask me whatever you like. Thank you very much, Robert Johnston, for chucking a load of money at me before the stream had started even. That's very much appreciated. There was some people that became YouTube members and stuff as well. I will send you a message a little bit later. I'm trying to encourage people to become YouTube members, which is the basic sort of kind of like Patreon, but directly through YouTube. I encourage people to give money however they want. Thanks. I'm in a quite good mood today, so a little bit dizzy, sort of like, ooh, a little bit dizzy. I've lost almost 10 pounds now on my diet, and it's going quite well, the diet this time, I think. Not that it has gone poorly before, it's just that I wasn't losing that much weight. I was probably eating reasonably a bit healthier, but I was still a bit, a bit tubby, mega tubby still, unfortunately. So, well, thank you very much, Robert Johnston. Robert Johnston, one of my most prolific donators and supporters. Behold and tremble in fear, board. Thank you very much. I appreciate the potato peeler very much. Star, why do people give me so much? Oh, I love you. And Noah, thank you very much for becoming a board citizen as well. Very much appreciated. Legend. Who was the other person that became a member? Lars Wasserman. Thank you very much. Oh, you legend. That's a lot of money to contribute a month. Thank you. Very much appreciated. So, some things. 3.8. The current 3.8 build live is not great in the form that... it's got a lot of cool features, and if you avoid all the bugs, it's really fun. However, there are a lot of bugs to avoid, and the desync, and there's some major problems which need to be sorted, hopefully. Hopefully, a load of them will be sorted in 3.8.1, although there are other problems in 3.8.1 as well. But they do seem to be plowing through a load of the bugs, which is a great thing. The desync for me is one of the main things that I have a problem with, though. So people haven't been playing 3.8. There's desync, typically with player to player. So even if they're in a party in close proximity to you, even if they were in a house with you IRL and you're on the server together, unfortunately, you can be quite desynced by quite a few seconds and not be where you appear to be. And when you're operating the same ship together, you can get problems. So, if there's any problems with me streaming, please say, because I'm uploading a video at the moment. So I'm uploading the monthly report for the Persistent Universe. So I've sort of like compressed a load of data down there, and I put it slightly more in context than I would normally, and made it more less sort of clinical and more sort of mixture of informative, but also explaining things stuff a bit more and putting it in context. I think it's a much better format, or at least the way I presented the data is better. And I've also got, for the most part, appropriate background footage and B-roll. I've been spending a little bit more time editing the videos now because I need to talk to Zin, who's going to be working for me soon as my editor, and tell her what I want her to do and evolve. And I need to learn a bit more editing so that I at least understand what to tell her to do. If you see what I mean. Someone's chucked me a load of knock. I don't know what knock is. Was it Corona or something? That's a beer. Looking good. Keep up the diet. I will. You can only see the upper body still, but soon I'll show the whole hog. I don't know where I'm going with that. The whole potato. Yeah, but so I need to lose another 30 pounds, which is a reasonable amount of weight. But I'd like to, not be a big tubby potato. I'd like to increase my lifespan by about 15 years by eating a bit healthier. And I'm not going to give up delicious foods. I'm just going to lose some weight on this diet and then sort of find a nice medium of delicious food and healthy food and exercise. Because I go for a half an hour run a day now, which I hate. I must tell you, it's great afterwards. After I finish the run, I'm sort of like, thank God it's over, get back to a computer, and I feel a bit, I do genuinely feel a bit happier, a bit also like, I've done that, that's good. Oh, I've a bit of endorphins going through you. So I'm getting more and more into the sort of like, yeah, I can see why people go for a run. I can see why people want to be healthy physically. And then obviously, this stream is a scam. Robert Johnston, no, you're a monster. Hello, hello, hello. You big, beautiful potato indeed. Oh, I see. Does that keep track of all of my... So I'm sort of learning how this new YouTube overlay UI, HUD, whatever the hell it is, control center, let's call it that, works at the moment, so you have to bear with me. Someone's in your stream. There's something wrong with it. Are you mainly planning on streaming on YouTube or Twitch? I will stream wherever the waters take me. There's an interesting thing is that I would prefer to stream on every platform simultaneously. I see where the wind blows with that sort of stuff. When the game is released, will I keep my ships I paid for? If you paid for them with real money, yes. You can technically lose some of those ships in the future once the game is released or once the game has full persistence and an insurance system. You could, if you didn't pay for insurance on your ship after the insurance has run out, so like, 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or whatever, then you technically could lose your ship, although there might be some form of statutory insurance on all ships, so you can never truly lose them. But there's going to be other reasons you not want to lose your ship, like it's going to take a couple of weeks to get back a ship, potentially, especially the larger ones and more expensive ones, because they have to be manufactured and then all that sort of stuff. So bear that in mind. If you've bought it in-game currently, yes, you will lose your ships until they put in, we'll get less resets with platform persistence, which is planned for 3.8. So literally CIG being able to go, we can choose when to copy the databases over and when to wipe them. Why would they wipe them then? Well, they'll wipe them if they need to test something, if there's some bugs with it, or if there's been exploits, that sort of stuff. At the moment, they're going to repeatedly want to test progression and the new quanta system. So they've got this new quantum economy and universe simulation that they're building in. I don't know why CIG will name everything similarly, like Titans, the Avenger Titan and Titan suits. The quantum system and quantum drives, and sort of like, why name everything similarly? It causes confusion, but they do it because some of it sounds cool. The new quantum, so the new dynamic economy system, let's call it, which takes into account where enemies are, probability volumes of enemies turning up based on what's happening in the economy, all that sort of stuff is being built into the game now. I sort of went off tangent what I was actually listening to. I've gone a bit. As my sort of like energy levels have balanced from this diet, I've gone a bit sort of today I'm a bit erratic. You have to deal with that. But at the moment, chips you buy in game are reset every so often, which is sad face. I never knew at the bottom of this screen that there was the minus 104 C or whatever it says there. I never actually saw that before. On the bottom left, and the life expectancy of 5 minutes in the cold. I probably should have seen that. I've just talked about it more. Do you think it's worth it for a newbie to equip the Cutty Black with decent shields and weapons over losing all the stuff when blown up? Yeah. Why wouldn't you upgrade your ship? Like, risk reward, okay? So, I mean, are you going to use the Cutlass Black for a long time? Upgrade it. Especially with new weapons. And so at the moment, shields and weapons are probably the most important things to change on your ship, because the power plants and coolers, they can have some change and stuff on your ship, but they're not as profound as coolers, as shields and weapons. So, and yeah, I'd recommend upgrading your stuff to be an all gimbaled loadout where possible, because there's just the shiz at the moment. And yeah, you don't want to lose your stuff, so. Are orgs worth anything? Is there a purpose or a waste of time? Stick with Discord? they're not mutually exclusive. You can be on Discord and you can have an org. You can have multiple orgs. I don't think Star Citizen is built to be a solo game for the most part. Let me explain that. I think you're going to have more fun by being in an org. Even if you want to play lone wolf type gameplay, I think you can find orgs that will allow you to do that while also making use of their resources or information sharing network. You see what I mean? So I think it's worth checking that out and having a look at that. But yeah, you can find an org that's great for you, people to play with, people to inspire you to play the game with them, to work together for certain things, to share information, to talk, to socialise with. I mean, orgs are incredibly important. There's lots of org features that they've got planned as well. It's 5:15 a.m. I'm going to bed, so keep the noise down or fuck off. Thank you very much, Robert Johnston. Very much appreciated. You are a legend amongst men and women and people, or whatever else you identify as. A potato. I'm a potato, or an egg, or both. Or a little hobbit boy. Soon to be a small hobbit boy, not a tubby hobby boy. Question in brackets allows me to see it much more easily, or you can at me, I suppose, as well. I'm taking questions from every medium I can. So this is a mixture of stuff from my YouTube community section, stuff from livestream, stuff from Discord, some notes I've got from some videos. Did you enter to win Trex's Carrack? If you did and win it, can I clean your toilets? I'll buy a Carrack in game. I don't typically enter other people's competitions for ships anymore. If you notice, I've never entered any of, well, maybe after 2015, I haven't entered any of Star Citizen's official competitions either, because I think it would be a bit weird. Content creators like myself winning it. Not that I could. I don't have the skills for most of these things, but I don't really enter them. They're community things that are below me. No, no. I don't think it's slightly inappropriate, almost, or maybe not. Maybe it's just I'm aware that I'm not skilled enough to win most of the competitions they've got, because there are amazing people in the community like Narayan and Mr. Haskahar and stuff like that can do amazingly beautiful things. But the Board Gamer social organisation and generally what I want to do on my channel, gameplay-wise, so most of my videos will be Star Citizen news, patch notes, guides, looking at features, how-tos, explanations of things, sort of looking at the game, analysing the game. I might do some Let's Play of Squadron 42 Episode 1. In fact, I almost certainly will. And then I'll probably analyse certain areas of that and do some silly stuff with the game. But when I play the game, I want to, probably have some videos relating to particular types of gameplay and some cool stuff that I've done in-game. However, I do want to play with the community as well on live stream or just on my Discord. And we'll be doing more and more of that as it becomes more appropriate. I was planning to do that with 3.6, and then 3.7, and then 3.8. And 3.8 even started doing it to a reasonable extent, but the desync issue is quite bad at the moment. So as soon as that is resolved, I'm planning to play the game a lot more. Happy Penguin Awareness Day. The Penguin plushie is going to be, I believe, in 3.9. So that's an exciting penguin, isn't it? I just lost a load of... the NPC doubles duplicates also must be fixed. Yeah. There's a load of problems with the... I'm not sure if the doubles and duplicates are actually something they might be stress testing. That's what I thought it was originally, anyway. Like around landing zones. Oh, you're talking about when the NPCs spawn in NPCs in, like, Security Post Korea. And you take one down. And you're like, oh my god, there's another one inside him! Why is the server FPS so low? I'm not having problems with the server FPS. You might on certain servers, that, especially if they degrade, the degrading issue is still a problem. They still haven't fully implemented or fully optimized, should I say, server-side object container streaming. There's a lot more work they want to do with that. There's a huge amount more work that the network code needs, that the optimization needs for the game. I mean, they haven't even finished the core of the game yet. You're a Carrick. Most of the time you just get killed in Star Citizen, not injured. How will they address that? They're going to have it so that you get injured a lot more and get knocked down and bleed out and stuff like that. So if you get shot in the face, say, typically you'd just be insta-dead. But in the future, the sort of idea is that you'll get knocked to the ground and then you might be stunned for a second. And then you might only be able to crawl. And when you're crawling, you might be able to jab yourself with a Medipen to get yourself back up quickly. Or you might be able to get a mate to get you back up or whatever. So the idea is that you'll get knocked out, stunned, all this sort of stuff, rather than just insta-dying. Obviously, if someone knocks you down and then pushes you, you're probably going to be incredibly vulnerable, and then you're probably done for anyway. But it's not just going to be, boop, dead. If you've got a big group of mates with you, they're going to be able to drag you off, and that sort of stuff, and get you back on your feet. So the mobile spawn and medibeds. So we've got medibeds in 3.8.1. So at the moment that will be the 890 jump and the Cutlass Red. Cutlass Red is now available to everyone to test in the PTU, so on the test servers, and then we'll be in 3.8.1 live. So the medibed's there. If you're injured, you can go up to the medibed, lie down on it, and use it to use an interaction to heal all your wounds. Bam, great. Just takes a couple of seconds. And you're healed. But you can also set it as your temporary spawn point, your ICU, your intensive care unit, during your session. And then if you die, you will respawn as long as you're within range. I think it's 40 kilometers range at the moment. You'll spawn back at that ICU, which is absolutely fantastic. If it's not available, then you'll spawn back at a landing zone. But in the short term, this is a great thing for the game, so that you can test stuff more easily, so you can mess around. You've got to remember, we haven't got full persistence yet. Yes, it's horribly exploitable. I'm sure people can zerg from it and stuff like that. But at the moment, when you're testing stuff and you're messing around in the verse, I think it's great. Obviously, it needs to be balanced and it needs to be dialed in so that it's appropriate. And we will get that eventually. But hey, Bob, quick question. Do you think CIG have any other system done or almost done other than Pyro, but aren't sharing this information? Yes, I do. I think places like the Odin system, but potentially even like Magnus and some the Nyx system, things like that, they could have started working on and might have started doing some stuff. And I expect they've actually got whole new test systems, and maybe they aren't going to appear in the game, but they've got procedure-generated bodies around them. But we know the Odin system's being worked on for Squadron 42 for ages. So I ended up sticking with the Ares over the Mole. If you want an amazing heavy fighter, which is great at support and alpha striking, then I think that the Ares is going to be very exciting. The Mole is a more reasonable ship overall, with uses in the persistent universe, combat and mining. But combat? Really? The Mole? We can chuck asteroids at people and detonate them. But I like the Ares, and it was a good bit cheaper. Thoughts? Totally different gameplay. I think that with an Ares, you'll be able to farm up enough money to get a Mole. If you've got 3 people all buying a share in the Mole, then the Mole's probably cheaper. See what I mean? But you get it in game. Get most stuff in game. Just get some ships out of game if you're really in love with them. We've got the spare disposable income to get it, but get the rest of the stuff in game. I think you'll enjoy it more because of that. Board, you should do a calendar shoot. Fireman board, real life safety board. Maybe a swimsuit for July. Mrs. Claus for December. Just an idea. Thanks, bud. If people gave me enough money, or enough money to charity, probably for something like that, something that would actually cause your eyes to bleed, then I would consider it. There's a motorbike outside my house. It might have sounded like it was in my house, it was so loud. Firstly, congratulations on losing £10. Thanks. So, if you get skinny, should we start calling you a beautiful carrot? I'll still have a potato on top. This is just my general head structure potato. That's nothing to do with like a fluffy, fatty. So I'm not a fried potato. I just look like a potato. That's not going to change even if I lose a lot of weight. Don't you worry. Right, what else we got here? First time for a lot of people. But it's not that exciting, so don't worry. It's just me chatting. I chat about stuff. We chat about roadmaps. We chat about other stuff. We know that CIG have been working a lot with Vulkan integration as well. They seem to be playing along with that. So Vulkan is going to be very exciting for the game because it will make the game significantly more optimized, and we should see like graphics, scalable options and stuff like that. From that, the game should look a lot better as well once they've got Vulkan and optimization in. It's all stuff that they're building for the core of the engine because they need to get that in for Squadron 42. Does anyone know something about Theatres of War? So Theatres of War is planned to be in someone's hands, so either Cardi's or early testing by, I believe, at some point this quarter. I think they sort of like want to do a preliminary test release or something similar by the end of March. So something for like 3.9 would be my expectation, and that's what they've implied as well. We know that they've been working on that level that they showed at CitizenCon a bit more as well. So CIG are currently in their scheduling and rescheduling and prioritization meetings at the moment. So we should either do by Friday. So Friday's typically when we get a roadmap update. I would expect this Friday we would see, or maybe next Friday, but probably this Friday, we should see a reasonable update to the roadmap. Potentially even going up to 4.1/4.2, a bit more of a look at 3.9 and 4.0 and seeing exactly what they've got prioritized for them. Because with the staggered development, they are building those patches currently, 3.9, 4.0. We know that there's no feature cutoff for 3.9 until mid-February, which is actually significantly earlier than typically when they do a feature cutoff, and that basically says which features will 100% make it in, well, which features should make it in, which features are we saying are in for this patch, and the rest get moved out to either a later release or 4.0. So it'll be interesting to see what they've got for the roadmap and their priorities for this year. They have said some other stuff like they're prioritizing ground locations over space stations in the short term, things like that. So it'll be interesting to see if that's going to be reflected on like microtech. C2 or Caterpillar. Okay, in the short term and mid-term, I think you're going to make more monies from the Caterpillar. I think the Caterpillar's got a good amount of cargo space and is more suited for space travel. The C2, if you're going to be delivering stuff to the landing zones regularly, then maybe that might be a better shout. So maybe if you're going planet side into the ground a lot more, or if you want to deliver ground vehicles. With the lawsuit seemingly fizzling out, I agree that that's probably that's what it looks like to me anyway. I'm not a lawyer, but that's what it looks like to me. It looks like CIG have sort of like, and Amazon now have all said, look, this is a bit of a frivolous lawsuit. Where was that question? Will Faceware improve? Wasn't it held back? So the face over IP stuff, they are dialing that and VoIP in. Faceware are the guys that are supposed to be making the camera specifically for VoIP. And apparently they're still making that. I'm not sure why it's been delayed. It might have been delayed because of the lawsuit, or it might be delayed because it's not ready yet. It's like CIG might have gone, no, not appropriate yet. We need to get it so it's perfect before we release it. Do you think the Cutlass Red will be on sale with 3.8.1? I actually do, yes. I would expect them to do a sale, because why not? Same with the Carrack, same with the Prowler. When they're released. So, Carrack, February, Prowler, March. If it's at the end of March, they'll probably release it with 3.9. When do I think Pyro will drop in 2020? I expect it for Q3, Q4. More likely Q4. Although, if they try and get it ready for CitizenCon, that would be awesome. Everyone is always complaining about the flight model. That's not entirely true, Bjorn. Some people are okay with it. Some people are sort of like, meh, it'll get better in time. And some people are aggravated by it, and some of those rightly so. Can you explain the issues with a bit and elaborate on what you think is missing or should change? So the flight model requires a load of stuff in before it can be sort of balanced and tweaked and optimized and finished off, and so that it can even consider being in a good state. It needs the rest of its core in. So it needs physicalized components. So they need individual components for thrusters and customization for them, and these like coolers and power plants and all that sort of stuff to appear on your ships. They can actually be physically removed and moved around. They are doing variable thruster output in the form that so that thrusters on planets and in atmosphere, they won't be as powerful as when they're in space. So you'll have to think about that. So it's sort of like an in-between of hover mode and IFCS, the assist system. So once they've got that sort of stuff in, then they can much more readily balance the flight model. But there's a load of core gameplay and ship sort of like features that they need to get in before they then finish the flight model. And then once they've got that done, and it's sort of like optimized for the network code and everything, so that it doesn't bug out or lag or desync or rubber band or anything, then they can balance it for individual hulls and different types of thrusters. So I think the core of the flight model isn't awful. It just isn't ready for being fully implemented because it's not got all the systems yet. Definitive answer on Alpha UEC wipe. Will there be one? Yes, there should be an Alpha. So I can't say definitively, but 99% sure that with 3.8.1 live, there'll be a wipe. And there's no confirmation on whether 3.8.1 will have platform persistence in or not. And even if it does, they could still wipe for 3.9 if they want to, or if there's a reason. Platform persistence basically just means that CIG can more readily choose when to delete the databases. That technically all carries over, but there might be bugs with it, might not work properly, there might be exploits. If there's exploits or they want to test something, then they will wipe those databases anyway. What is the better ship between the Freelancer and the Cutlass Black? They are different ships with different purposes. The Cutlass Black is cheaper and probably easier to fix on the fly, if you see what I mean. I like the Cutlass Black more, but then I'm a Drake fanboy. Why do you think bed spawns will work if multiple people with the same spawn point die at the same time? Medi-bed spawns and bed spawns are going to be two different things. So when you log out, you'll be logging out in a normal bunk bed or bed on a ship, yeah? And then when you log back in, you'll log back in that bed, is the idea. Medi-beds are temporary spawn points at the moment, and if you all die at the same time, they either need to queue that, or if your bed's not available, your Medi-bed's not available, you'll spawn back at a major landing zone. But in the future, queue. Just queue it. And then people can choose whether they respawn there or at a major landing zone. Bam. What do you think will happen when permanent dying comes in? Will you have to create a new character and handle? Yes. A new character and name. Maybe not a new handle. But it will be part of your account still. So it will still be part of your account. You'll create a new character and he'll get all your assets and stuff for the old character. There's going to be some other forms of risk and reward associated with that because they want mortality to mean something. I'm not sure if it shouldn't be like this devastating death tax. You're just like, well, I'm done. They don't want that, but they do want your characters to be able to die. So you probably have like reputation loss, maybe a small amount of death tax. What are your thoughts on controlled rarity of ships that could easily be considered common, such as most of the Origin ships? So my thoughts on that stuff is that I want a dynamic economy in to work that out for me. So it's going to be based on what people buy in game, what gets lost regularly, and what gets replaced regularly, and how easy is it to replace these ships. And because of their components, and because of their manufacturing processes, and because a system's sort of like being attacked regularly, does that mean that it's very, 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 very rare to see 300 series ships? because all the Origin shipyards are constantly being assaulted by pirates, and there's not enough materials getting delivered to them. You see what I mean? So that's going to change hugely in the future and keep on changing. I'm sorry, board gamer. Maybe your intentions are good now. I'm sure Star Citizen is a scam, and I'll report all Star Citizens as promoting a scam. You're an idiot. Damn. What a weird thing to say. Get out of here, you scrub. Oh, I need to set up moderators on this channel properly again. Okay, it's a new thing. Okay, yeah, I got it. What, in your opinion, is the most important next core tech that CIG will be working on this year? New star system. Well, working on server meshing, but they've got jump points and new star system. Pyro. They're all pretty big. There's quite a lot of stuff this year. Will 3.8.1 airlock be able to cycle, or is it just a static O2, no O2? They want full pressurization and a room system that deals with that. So it will be sort of that they want pressurization. They want it to be a proper cycle. At the moment, I think that airlocks are no O2, O2 kill zones. Well, no O2, O2 zones in the short term, at least in some of the areas. Squadron will... Board Gamer, will Squadron 42 be able to be played offline, if anyone knows? I don't know. It's a single-player game. I'd hope it will be able to be played offline. However, if it's only accessible through the Star Citizen Distant Universe launcher, then maybe you have to be online while playing it, and that'll be a big shame for me if it is. They have fixed some issues with ship spawning, but not all of them. There's still a load of problems in 3.8.1, but they're getting through them. I expect we'll have a reasonably good build for 3.8.1 by the end of January. That's sort of what they're plowing through at the moment. Speaking of aftermarket parts for the ships, will there be a dashboard upgrades kit for ships like the Titan? Will there be screens to be stuck in like Garmin GPS or Tomcats? So you'll probably see a load of different variations of silly things inside ships. So interior paint jobs, walnut dashboards, maybe some UI color changes, things like that you'll be able to buy, along with lots of functional items for like food makers and drink makers. And there'll be various, there'll be based on whatever ship hull it is or whatever. There's going to be that sort of like manufacturer customization level, and then there'll be aftermarket customization as well that allow you to do a lot more weird stuff as well with your ship, potentially putting neons on maybe, or having much more in-depth sort of like paint job changes for your ships. Sort of stuff that they've been wanting to put in for a while. Alison Young, thank you very much. I'm not sure why I said your name like that. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much for joining the Board Gamer channel membership thing. Has RSI mentioned if there will be NPC specializations and training so they can improve their function on your ship if you regularly hire the NPC? Yeah, so NPCs have stats. Players don't have stats. It's to down with your own personal skill. NPCs will have stats, though, and some of them will be trained or be able to be trained in certain areas and get their stats better in them just by doing that job or whatever, or you can hire them. Some of them might be really good at being a turret gunner. Some of them might be really good at mining. If you use someone that hadn't mined before in a mining role, using a laser in the Argo mole, they might very well blow up the rock. But I believe the idea is that if they do a particular function more and more and more, their stats will effectively rise. When do you think they'll release the first iteration of server meshing? They said they wanted to be almost ready to release by the end of 2020, and so I would expect it Q1 2021. If they really did well, then maybe they'll try and plow through to getting it showing it at CitizenCon this year. Yeah. What's the point of having VTOL mode? Ships can have VTOL mode with so vertical takeoff and landing. Ships can still hover with VTOL mode disabled. So VTOL thrusters, with the new systems they're going to be putting in place in the future, with thrusters are going to be significantly less powerful. VTOL thrusters are going to give you a lot more power in atmosphere, because they are literally going to thrust downwards and keep you more readily upright. When do you think ProRay will drop this year? As I said, probably Q4 2020, although I think they might show more of it at CitizenCon. Do you know if there's any plans to fix many of the first-person shooter bugs that are around? Guns just vanishing? Yes, there's been multiple fixes for the FPS problems in 3.8.1, which are largely solved now. The NPC spawning in each other is not solved. What is Vulcan? So you've got multiple Vulcans in the game. So you've got the Vulcan, which is a ship with drones for rearm, repair, and refuel. You also have Vulcan API, so like DirectX 12, like DirectX and that sort of stuff. You have Vulcan, which will do a lot of the rendering stuff and give us our graphics API, basically. And it's hardware neutral. It's a really clever way of being able to support and update the game regularly. They can just work on one API, bam, for that, and then support all hardware without having to optimize specifically for NVIDIA cards with whatever. So I'm finding it hard to read with I need to set up my background screen a lot better so that it's less deathly on my eyes. I'm looking for a single to low number crew Pathfinder ship. Any ideas? 315p. I'm not sure how I need to see what the Crusader is actually, the Corsair is actually capable of. Freelancer Durr. Terrapin. There's quite a few. Will they... Oh! Bear with me. Will they fix boxes despawning for no apparent reason? Yes. I would expect that fix in 3.8.1. That's one of their known issues still. They fixed some of the box problems in cargo holds and moving boxes and things around, but not all of them again. Do you think CIG may implement some form of voice-activated controls similar to voice attack? I think they've talked about it, even said maybe, but I would probably use voice attack over any homebrew system CIG did. Hopefully they'll focus on things that their game needs rather than the things that would be just cool for their game. Will they fix boxes? We talked about that. Will they fix? No, we talked about that. So let's... What is smart, creative, and just beautiful soul, bud? That's why I'm here day after day. Thanks, Shite. I'm a beautiful soul. Any ETA on turret game improvements? Thanks, JP Sandman. I do have a shiny. Look how shiny that motherfucking bald head is. Any ETA on turret game improvements? So they are gimbaling, giving gimbal assist to turrets, and they have been improving turrets recently. So 3.9 expects some improved turret gameplay. I'm not sure if it's going to be good or terrible until it's in our hands. Do you expect a lot of gameplay will be waiting on server meshing because of the code, like with server-side object container streaming? I mean, server meshing does allow them to have a lot more players in. It solves a load of the problems when it comes to servers getting overloaded and AI problems and spawning new objects and tracking them and all that sort of stuff, and full persistence. So there's a load of gameplay that is associated with server meshing and getting that in, but it's not all the gameplay. So there's lots of other stuff they can do. 13 months you've been subscribed for, JP7. Oh my god. Like 2.5 years? Woo. That is a long time. Thank you very much, Digital Justice. Thank you very much for the bits. I appreciate the bits. I'll put them to good use. How do you feel about the Vanguard Warden? It's not in the right place yet. None of the ships have been really properly balanced because they need a proper flight model, they need a combat model, all that sort of stuff, and they need physicalized components and a load of other things to come into the game before they can balance the individual hulls and get them balanced for proper gameplay. Yeah, the Vanguards are super underperforming at the moment. And Vanguard is one of my favourite ships, so I want it to be significantly better. When will the Anvil Carrack be flight ready? It's supposed to be flight ready in February. I expect it by the end of February. Can you read the question too? Yes. In some situations, when I remember, yes. Oh, Roswell Crash, you're my #1 fan. I can see the stampy things. I can see things now when people make little stickers or labels or whatever. Thank you very much, Roswell Crash. Still can't talk properly, so. Any plans for reworking constellations? So it's interesting you say that. So we've seen the sort of like new tempered glass fronts they've got without struts that they showed off in the Mantis, which was interesting to me. And they still haven't released the Constellation Taurus, which doesn't make much sense, seeing it's a slightly stripped down constellation. It's been months. So I think they potentially could be reworking some parts of the constellation. Not a huge rework, but maybe a light rework. Maybe redoing the cockpit very lightly, doing some of the internals very lightly, and then releasing the Taurus with that. That's just an expectation, but we know we haven't got the Taurus in the game, and it sort of stands to reason that it would be actually quite simple to get that in the game. Is Star Citizen still a scam? Was it ever a scam? You could very much argue that people that backed the original Kickstarter and didn't want the expanded scope and hugely long waiting times for a much more expanded game, that they should be able to get a refund. But that is something you certainly should be able to argue. But those who spend thousands of dollars on this game buying ships, will they lose them if there is permadeath? So those ships and items should be passed on to your next of kin, so your next character that you make. Insurance-wise, we're not sure how insurance is going to affect ships once insurance has lapsed. However, lifetime insurance will cover the hull. I think people are going to be more concerned, rather than their ships, about their equipment on their ships, because the top-end, fully overclocked, A-grade military gear that's going to take you a long time to grind is probably going to be a lot more valuable. Boris, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciated for the resub. Star Citizen is a scam, I tell you. Oh man, why are you like this? So Mustard Tiger, you're I love the fact that YouTube has censored this because it thinks it's rude. If my parts are gone every time the ship's destroyed, it's gonna suck, lol. I think its parts are gone and suck. It does not like, because I think it thinks it's saucy. You know what happened to the Saber Comets and mass drivers? Will they ever come back? I didn't even know there was a problem with the Saber Comet. It was supposed to have the mass driver loadout, wasn't it? I'll have a look. I'll have a look. See, I'll write it down. Do you think we might get salvage this year? Yes, I still think we'll see salvage in 4.0, 4.1, or 4.2. So I still think we'll see it this year. It's got to be a priority for them, right? Right? Okay, Steve, thank you very much. Oh no, man, it wasn't. Okay, Steve, S Bloom 85, Crosswell, Amadeus, Mr. Bannerwolf, Mantis Ridger has given you loads of subs. Thank you very much for the ridiculous amount of subs. And JBad Max, thank you very much. I'm not sure if I said thank you, but thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciated. Oh, thank you. I don't know why people give me so much money for no reason. I do appreciate it though. I really need to urinate like a horse. But Bio, 1 second. You can be entertained by this precariously balanced turtle. I really need to pee and I'm balancing it. What have I done with my life then? I'm balancing a fake turtle on a chair for entertainment's sake. Oh my god! Stupid turtle! Hi. Stupid turtle! Tortoise, whatever it is. Bloody. Right, what have we got? What have we got here? Maybe we're all just... What? Maybe we just all have bald heads. Bald head fetishes? As to why we give so much money. Hanathcom, maybe. If only there were real life potential partners that had the same. I couldn't even balance a turtle on a chair. Hashtag unfollow. No turtle emote. Oh, so I need 2 emotes made. I need a turtle emote. And I need that's appropriate to Star Citizen some way, or my channel or whatever. And a leek. An actual leek. The vegetable. The leeks. The Star Citizen leeks. Because it's a leek. I feel like there's a need for an all-round cheap starter ship added. With a bit more cargo. What? You got... What? A bit more cargo? Halle? Or newbies can barely do anything with starters? No, I disagree. There's a lot you can do in a starter ship. You've got the 100 series coming soon. You've got the Reliance. You've got the Avenger. The Avenger series are basically the next step up off a starter. And you'll be able to get them really quickly anyway. In my opinion. I mean, there's probably more going into that, and there's probably more thoughts you have on that, which we can probably discuss, or I'll do a video on at some point. Can I purchase? I don't want to dismiss your point entirely. I don't agree with it, because I think that the Avenger Titan, sort of like the Avenger series, also fills that hole. Can I purchase a ship that is not available on the ship market if I were to email CIG exclusively? Potentially. Their customer service would put it as low priority, and they might answer you and say, yes, we can sort you out. I wouldn't expect it, but it's a possibility. Is server-side container streaming the same as server meshing? No. SOX is actually implemented in the game in its version 1. Oh, Cameron cringe face. Thank you very much, Manus, for the bits. For the bits hype train. Oh, yeah, the weird hype train thing. I'm not sure what that is. It goes choo-choo. Goes to the next level. I'm not really sure what it does or why it does it. Do we have to click something? Oh. It's got weird stuff. Thank you very much for the attempt with the hype train. I'm not really sure what it is. Thank people with a hype Bigfoot too. What is this? So server-side object container streaming is the ability for the server to standby areas based on player population. So players nearby, they have that part of the server activated. If a player leaves that area, it can sort of like put it on standby. The server doesn't need to consider that area, which is good. Okay, server meshing is the ability to seamlessly hand over information between servers, and that with that you'll have multiple servers handling a single star system or room or planet or whatever. So that they help each other and are important for optimization. Do you think I should turn down the music very slightly? Yes, I do. Do you think parts of some ships' origin misc should be hard to find in some places, like trying to find parts for like trying to find parts for rare cars and stuff? So basic repairs and at least and some gear and items should be easy to find, even if it's C and D grade civilian plus equipment. Should be easy to find, easy to replace. Yeah, but some of the higher end systems and like military A grade or even better A grade systems or S class systems, yeah, they should be really hard to track down and really hard to find. 100%. Yeah. And same with subcomponents. Board, please keep up the informative content. Your content is always interesting and usually well balanced. Oh. It's very accurate. Haters will be haters. I don't. People are entitled to their opinions, and people are entitled. Well, they're allowed to go around trolling, and I'm entitled to, ban them for trolling. Go, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll listen to people's opinions as soon as they're not civil, or as soon as they're like ridiculously, like offensively stupid, or whatever. It's not civil. Do you think CIG will make a Game Glass type MFD? An MFD app to be in real game MFD. So, I think you'll see lots of different types of panels and UIs and user interfaces and HUDs. How will permadeath? How is it supposed to function if we're getting respawned to hospitals, many beds, and prisons after death? So that's more of a short-term way of dealing with death and risk and reward in game. Those will evolve, and then eventually it will be part of the death of the spaceman. But the end goal of that is to have mortality mean something in the game, and you not want to die. Not to go, well, I'll just die so I can teleport over here. You don't want that sort of thing. Will they fix boxes despawning for no apparent reason? Yes, as I said earlier. They have fixed some of those problems in 3.8.1's PT already. With the Cutlass Red bringing Tier 0 medical gameplay, sort of, maybe. They're a ship that allows you to respawn in and heal at a point. Should we expect Tier 0 ship exploration mechanics with the Carrack in February? Okay, so you might get some more missions. You're going to get more and more missions from every patch to patch. Every major patch anyway, and expanded gameplay area. And exploration mechanics are a huge combination of lots and lots and lots and lots of different small ones. But really, we need scanning, pinging, detection stuff, points of interest, saving locational information, selling that information, lots of this stuff to come online before we have anything close to exploration. And yeah, we'll see some of that this year. Way back, shortly after... Oh. Oh no. Oh no. I need a new name. Would you be willing to give me one worthy of valor? Worthy of valor. Perfect name for you. Do you think the constellation needs a rework or improvement? As I said, I think it might be getting a little one, not a huge one, but maybe they're redoing the strut / glass at the front of it. Maybe they're redoing some of the internals. Will the Cutlass Black be getting a rework? No. It's already had one. Do you think they will implement personal bounty on players that attack you? You will probably have to have a personal bounty board in the future. With ships like the Kraken Privateer, Idris, and Merchantman, to a degree, will they all be able to go into a wormhole gate, or do you think CIG will add another gameplay aspects to gate use? So originally there was going to be, at least originally, there was going to be gate sizes. So some wormholes, some jump points weren't able to take larger ships. But they had size small, medium, and large. That may very well still be the plan. Do you think CIG will eventually be able to create complex biomes like the ones from the Carrot commercial? Yeah, I mean, you're going to see better and better biomes. You're going to see more and more complex biomes, and you're going to see more flora and fauna in them. Do you think they should rework the Cutlass design a la Morphologist's suggestion to have the doorway go under the turret and use the old space for the kitchen toilet? I doubt it. I do like Morphologist's content and his take on stuff, but it's a lot of sort of like real world, how does this work, why it works like this, and it would look better like this. Some of that stuff is not going to be appropriate for CIG to do for reasons. What guns take out shields? All guns take out shields, even the ballistic ones. They say have some penetration, but they damage shields as well. My turtle rage from earlier. I've just got down to that part of the conversation. Do you think we will ultimately see things like parts storage, like having additional shield generators on board that you can physically replace if completely damaged? Yes, that's one of the things that you're going to have storage cupboards for, but also cargo bays for, is for storing subcomponents and full-on components in some ships that you can just replace them. It's going to be part of the repair mechanics. Game Reaper, thank you very much for becoming a board member. Game joiny button thing. Appreciated. 100 series coming soon. Don't know. That I've heard nothing on that at all. Nothing on the any additional Origin ships. So the X1 on the 100 series, I have no idea where they currently are. Hype Train gets activated with 5 subs in a certain period. If people continue bit donations and subs during the timer, they get better and better emotes. Okay, I'll look at it properly later. I'll put like information about that sort of stuff down below eventually. Do you know if they have any plans to bring back any form of landing assistance, like their first implementation of the landing pads in Arena Commander? Yes, they plan to have, I believe, a low-res sort of like underneath thing like they used to, but that will actually conform to any terrain. I believe that is still the plan. They were talking about landing assistance stuff for a while about that, for a while for that sort of thing. Can we get real penguins on Microtech? Maybe in some form a little zoo? Maybe they've reintroduced penguins. Or introduced penguins to Microtech. Any idea on where the Apollo and Vulcan are coming? When they're coming? No. No. They haven't said. Once we have the updated roadmap, maybe they'll appear on there. What is your thoughts on the Retaliator? And are they upgrading the bay? So, expect changes to the Retaliator to some extent, especially when it comes to the ability to, modularly swap the bays in and out. But I don't know when that's going to actually be a thing. Is there a reason to both have a Carrot and Terrapin? Terrapin's more of a sort of like shorter range, tougher reconnaissance, reconnoiterer slash. I'd use it to spy on the enemy as well. The Terrapin, the Carrack is much more of an expedition, long range, larger scale ship. The Terrapin's much smaller, 1-person/2 person potentially. I have a stupid question. If I have not Star Citizen, and I want, for example, the Pisces or the Avenger, can I buy them as a starter pack and get Star Citizen without buying the Aurora or the Mustang? So sometimes you can buy the ships as part of starter packs. However, you can just buy the Mustang starter pack and upgrade it to the other ship. Will the Cutlass Blue have EMP or quantum interdiction? So they may have other ways of quantum interdicting with modules and items in the future. And there may be ways you can get EMPs on ships as they can be items or missiles or whatever. Based on your experience with the pipeline process, how soon can we expect the Genesis Starliner in-game? So it looks to me, and we'll know more about this once they update the roadmap properly for this year, it looks to me that they are going to be focusing on some Crusader ships this year. So we could potentially see the Starliner by the end of this year, or at least them considering work on it or starting work on it. Maybe not in-game this year, but maybe. It's quite a big ship. Doesn't have any special mechanics to it in its first iteration. Doesn't need salvage or anything. But they do want NPCs to be able to transport players around the verse with it, I believe. Call him a Gibshite. Yeah, indeed. That's perfect. With the Cutlass Red being added to the PTU, do you expect them to do the same with the Carrack? Yes. But not for 3.8.1, for somewhere in February. Given the size of the Javelin, do you think it will have an in-depth kitchen and galley? Yeah, it will have it will at least have a mess and food area. I'm looking forward to the 3080 RTXs from CIG. Yeah, for sure. Do you think hard to find items will get trucked around the verse in short order? Yeah. I mean, that's going to be part of the whole in-game players, moving items to the place that makes you the most most money. At the moment, the only trade we have in-game is of commodities, but not of fully manufactured items. And when people start moving huge amounts of power plants and weapons and things like that around, that's going to be a whole new game. So, according to... Can you tell us more about the Death of a Spaceman mechanic, basically? So, Death of a Spaceman is supposed to be... At some point, they'll be adding permadeath to your character, risk and reward for your character. So, the idea here is that eventually you have a certain amount of lives in-game, and your character will take damage, and as he gets killed, they're not actually killed, they're critically injured, and then you'll sort of it will assume that you've been picked up and taken to a hospital, so you'll respawn at a hospital, or a search and rescue vehicle or something, and they'll sort of revive you, is the idea. You can do that, and your character will get more and more physically obviously damaged, and then eventually, after you've done a certain amount of times, you'll die, and then your items and money and all that sort of stuff is transferred to a new character that you create. We don't know what sort of form of loss there will be there. We know that you don't want to die, typically. It might be mainly reputational loss, there might be a small percentage of death tax, whatever. It gets more complicated if your character was like a big pirate dude, and then you die and you respawn, and then is all your stuff impounded? Or where is all your stuff in the first place? Is it just where he had it last, and you have to get it all again? And so it gets complicated and that sort of stuff. So we don't 100% know how it's all going to work yet. To sort of bear that in mind. But the idea is that maybe there is going to be health insurance. So yeah, you can insure yourself for a large amount of money, and you don't have to worry about your lives. Or maybe there's ways of, after you've died a few times, you can refresh your lives with surgery or whatever. So, or bionics. It's not fully formed as an idea by CIG yet, because they sort of like, that's the rough idea, and they'll need to refine it and implement it and all that sort of jazz. I think the earliest you'd see the Genesis StarEngine game is the end of this year, but I think it's more sort of like middle of next year sort of ship. So they moved the Crusader Hercules C2 off the roadmap for 4.0, but they said just before they moved it off, they said they may be looking at all of the Hercules together and trying to get them in the nearish future. So the Crusader as a gas giant. Sorry, you were talking about the planet. I'm just sort of me being stupid. Crusader as a gas giant is planned for 4.0, so Q2 2020. And at the moment, obviously, it's a placeholder, but they plan to have the New Horizon floating city there, and that gas giant to have look cool, because they've got all their new gas cloud tech and whatever appropriate tech it is to have a gas giant tech. And there'll be points of interest and things going on that gas giant's outer edge or whatever, or deeper in the clouds. There'll be things there, maybe things to mine. Have they fixed or will they fix weather such as snowstorms coming inside of ships? It's a plan to fix it. I would expect they'd probably call it out for 3.8.1 if it's at all possible. They fix that sort of stuff for weather effects going inside caves. So. Hey board, how's it going? When do you think they'll add Cutlass back into customization? I don't know. They said it was... Well, they got the 300 series in customization for the manufacturer customization, so before you buy customization. They said it was as hard to get that in as it was to build a whole ship. So that kind of shows that maybe they won't be getting many ships into that in the short term until they get a dedicated team working on that. I'm more interested in aftermarket customization of ships, which I want them to get into the game much more than manufacturer customization. So in-game, I want to be able to change the colour, skin, and some of the internals and modules of my ship. Do you think the Constellation's jump ship will ever work? So the P-52 Merlin. So they said that they need ship-to-ship docking and the morphing physics grids and a couple of other things like that in the game. And then it will be working as soon as the ship-to-ship docking stuff comes in. But yes, it will be working at some point. Is it worth buying a new PC just for this game? If you want to get involved in the project now and it's what you want to do, maybe. What I'd do potentially is take a look at Shadow, which is the cloud-based gaming thing that I shill for. Go to shadow.tech, have a look there, see if that's more appropriate for you to use on your current computer. And then you can see if you like Star Citizen at a significantly cheaper price than buying a whole new PC. Have you heard anything about Cutlass Red being put back in the Pledge Store? Someone said it was back in the... No, it's always been in the Pledge Store, hasn't it? But it's been there for ages. I'm wondering about if the developers would add in a horror aspect to the game. They did say that they might have some like xenomorphy type things and some scary type missions. So maybe. I suspect they're influenced by every form of sci-fi trope you can think of. Next expected date for a new concept ship. Mid-February is typically when they start the concepts for the year. Will jump point sizes be advisory or game enforced? Don't know. That's a good point. Can you go into a small jump point with a large ship, but you might take damage? Question, how soon can we expect the Genesis Starliner to show up in game? Talked about that already. Do you think the new armor system will eventually have any effect on FPS combat? Yeah, so the idea with the physical combat system, the physicalized damage system and armor in game is that different armors and different damage types and where you get hit and what components and systems are on your armor even are all important. So yeah, energy weapons might be more effective against certain types of armor than others. If you're wearing big heavy armor and you get someone with like a electric gun shooting you, maybe it just arcs across you and it doesn't actually damage you at all. Will there be insurance options that replace and cover all modifications to the ship? That is the expectation, yes. The expectation is that insurance that's currently listed in the game for like lifetime insurance and 3 months insurance and 2 years insurance will cover the hull of your ship and the default stuff. But when you put on new stuff, new components, new gear, obviously that's not covered by the insurance. So there's probably going to be an insurance system that covers that. There'll probably be different types and better types of insurance and that sort of stuff. So people have even expected or hope that you'll be able to, even with the like flare changes inside or the cargo, you might be able to insure all of that even. Any news regarding the release of the Redeemer? No, we know it's gone through a whole new concept, or they're currently reconcepting it. It's supposed to be Aegis still, and it's going to be more of a gun ship rather than a gun dropship. More gun. Well, did you decide whether or not you'll be accepting freely offered ships from CIG for giveaways or not? No, I hadn't. I've sort of like, I've got ideas now, like, if I did anything like that, like if I did accept ships from CIG when they, like, release new patches and stuff, because they occasionally give a load of ships away to content creators for their community for giveaways. I was thinking maybe I could do it for charity stuff. Let's go, cool, give that to me, bam, immediately a charity thing. So I thought a little bit more about it, but I haven't decided anything yet. Hi, board. I've been wondering about if the developers would add in a horror aspect to the game. Talked about that a minute ago. Hello, board. Have you had anything about the Cutlass Red being talked about that? The Cutlass Red was removed from the Pledge Store yesterday. It's why I asked. Okay, I didn't realise it had been removed. I suspect it will be updated for when it's released in 3.8.1 live, and they'll probably do another sale of it. Was it $110? Was it 120 back in the day? Cutlass Red. So I get a lot of information from the Star Citizen Tools wiki, which is fantastic. $120 originally. Can recommend Star Citizen Tools wiki. I was going to make my own wiki, and then I realised that was a stupid idea, because I can barely maintain my own website. Do you have any details on the M50 rework? I know they're improving its landing gear and landing gear compression, and doing some tweaks to it, but I don't really know exactly what. I'm not sure if it'll go up in price, the Cutlass Red. I mean, if it does, it will be between 120, which it was originally, to between 120 and 150 maximum, in my opinion. They might do some special things like you can upgrade certain chips to it for cheaper or whatever. Will the A90 Jump be going back on sale from the Pledge Store soon? So expect occasionally the 890 Jump to go on sale. Special occasions, particularly sort of like CitizenCon / anniversary sale stuff, in limited numbers, so only like a couple of hundred or whatever at a time. Are you able to get the C920 to work with VoIP? Yes. I get a server error when I try and use it. I don't know what that's about. I've got a Brio and a C920 and a C922, and they all work with VoIP, and I've used them with all within the last week or so. What would be your desired concept ship if you had to pick a concept ship to come out in 9 months? Banny Matchman, maybe? You like the Orion? There's too many. I don't know. You can't ask me stuff like that. Why am I not streaming at 60 FPS? Because I was messing around with a new YouTubey thing, and I forgot to change my frame rate back up. yeah, some people hate the Redeemer, but it's being entirely reworked. But some people love it. So, would you accept being socially inept as being worthy of charity? Wow, I hope people do. Do you know why everyone got a free freelancer? I have noticed some bugs with my Macs. No. I didn't even know people had a free freelance. Oh, yes, I do know why people had a free freelancer. It fixed one of the bugs in game by giving people a freelancer for some reason. Attributing that to people's accounts was sort of like a side note of them fixing being able to use ASOP terminals and spawn ships or something. But yes, I do sort of pretty roughly know. Oh, that's old news to my brain. I was actually thinking that we might see a couple of package option releases with the red and search and rescue packages, for example. Yes, that's quite possible. We'll almost certainly see like a cutlass pack with all the cutlasses in, a rescue pack with the Vulcan, the cutlass red, the cutlass blue, some other rescue ships. The Endeavour Hope class hospital with two cutlass reds in it or something. Will the carrot go back on sale when it hits the live servers? I would expect it to be on sale once the carrot goes live, yes. You know anything about the native Linux client? Last thing I heard, it depends on what Lumberyard, he said Lumberyard supports. I don't know. I'm not sure what we're going to have for Linux, Linux stuff and Linux support. Question. Combat today is very, very quick and deadly. Are there any plans for making it more like sci-fi shows where ships are simply disabled and get bored rather than utterly destroyed? Yes, that is one of the major things we're waiting for. Physicalized components, that is. So at the moment, ships have virtual health pools, so artificial health pools. And when that health pool of that area gets destroyed, it's destroyed and it's the main part of the ship or the hull or whatever. Then boom, your ship's gone, you're dead. Yeah, bam, the ship's just destroyed. In the future, physicalized components will mean that, and the physical damage system will mean where you get hit, literally hits that part of the ship, and it will hit that component. If it hits a component, and it'll pass through your ship potentially, whatever, damage all the components, or take out the pilot, or whatever. But that will mean that ships don't explode. There's no artificial health pools. There's just the individual health pools of each of the components, and they can be disabled or destroyed, and that ship is going to be disabled, or crippled, or can be repaired. Someone might quickly grab the power plant that's been destroyed, take it out and put a new one in and get back up, whatever. So you have to bear that in mind. But that will allow for boarding. That will allow for different types of prioritization in combat, where you disable people and then try and take out other people. Do you keep on pounding that guy, or do you move on to destroy someone else, or do you disengage? Will there ever be underwater gameplay and bases? Don't know about bases. Doubt it. Doubt bases, but maybe in the far-flung future of Star Citizen, they do want water gameplay, and there's been talks about underwater stuff. Any idea when we'll get exploration gameplay? So exploration gameplay, as I mentioned before, is a collection of lots and lots of different types of gameplay that also touches on science and stuff. But really, for it, we need more points of interest. We need scanning, we need long-range scanning, we need to be able to travel to these points of interest that we scan, we find, and we need to be able to save locational data, we need to be able to survey, we need to be able to sell and share locational data, so we need places to go and explore too, basically, is what I'm saying. Arena Commander and Star Marine are working all okay in the PTU. Any ideas, please? Because on live, works like hell. Probably some major problems with them at the moment. Expect 3.8.1 to fix some of those problems. Finally, just wanted to say thank you for attempting to answer my question. Keep up the good work, dude. You're looking well today. Thank you very much. I feel okay. I'm a little bit tired. I was a bit dizzy earlier, but that's because I haven't been eating much, and I've been drinking a load of water, and I probably need a bit of sugar. I'm going to go for dinner in a minute. Answer a few more questions first. Have a bit of a chat. So at the moment, we're sort of waiting on CIG to finish their rescheduling meetings, so that we can see a much clearer 2020. You know that 3.9's got a load of content planned for it, but sort of stuff that we should definitely see is the prison gameplay, the new Babbage interiors, some new missions associated with that, some new commodities, some expansion to the law system, some mission and economy updates. obviously we are waiting for the dynamic economy and the dynamic mission system, which looks like it might be in 3.9. Hopefully it still is and hasn't got pushed back. But throughout 2020, we're going to see improvements to server optimization. They are working on server meshing, but we will see at some point jump points and the pyro system. That's major plans for 2020. But also physical damage system, physical components, they're all stuff that should come in 2020 as well. That's what it looks like. That's not 100% confirmed. That is quite a bit of elaboration on my part, but thank you for all the love, though. I do appreciate lots of people chucking random amounts of money at me, subscribing to the YouTube members thing, following whatever, chucking bits at me, Twitch subbing. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Is data running going to involve PvP? Yeah, there might be PvP in every area of the game. Not always going to involve PvP. It's going to be a lot of data running that's entirely PvE. What else have we got here? I need to hydrate more. Yes, that is correct. I do drink a lot of water a day. I just haven't drunk for a couple of hours. Does the module containers that come with the Crytek next month? And if not, when are they planning to do so? So the cargo pods are, but you won't be able to switch them out, I don't believe, with the Crytek in its first iteration. They haven't got those modular changes in place yet. I would say that having Star Citizen on SSD is pretty essential at the moment. My aesthetic, that Star Citizen commercial with the guy that completely alone exploring stuff and rock climbing and going into the nice ship. Mate, I love that Crytek ad. I think that's beautiful. What's supposed to happen with the ships we bought with real world money after the game insurance lapses and our ship gets destroyed? If you have not bought insurance on your ship, you may lose it. We don't 100% know how insurance is going to work. There may be statutory insurance on all ships, meaning that your ship would be retrievable somehow, even if you had to wait a long time or you had to pay an extra UEC cost or something. We don't know. But if the assumption is if you lapse your in-game insurance and then you don't pay for any more and then you lose the ship, it gets destroyed, then you could be permanently lost. When is 3.8.1 going live? I would expect it for this weekend. When can we expect fishing? I'm not sure if you're joking or not, but I honestly think they will have fishing in-game at some point. It's an MMO. We want fishing. Do you think the Cutlass to Cutlass Blue change will be equivalent to the Freelancer to Freelancer Mist change? Well, I mean, I don't know. What was the Cutlass Blue was originally $150. I'm hoping it stays that price, so $50. Why does Anvil Crytek come with an Urza rover instead of an Anvil rover? Because the Anvil rover is yet to exist, if it is going to exist at all. Bored YouTube mate, you're the man. Thank you, mate. YouTube mate, thank you, mate. You're the man. Thank you very much. I will enjoy dinner while I go for it. Almighty James PC, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. Is there a Mrs. Board? No. No Mr. or Mrs. Board. I'm a difficult partner, I would say. I haven't really, like, maybe like 8 years ago or something, sort of like, was when I was last with someone I'd like truly loved, and I sort of haven't got over that really, breaking up with her. So a bit of sort of I've dated other people, I've had other girls, and yeah. So I don't think any of my exes are watching. They're going to be like, oh, so it didn't really like me. Okay, I'm difficult. I like my alone time, and I'd rather socialise than have a partner. I sort of like. I'm difficult. I'm bipolar. I've got anxiety. Sometimes I wanna. Sometimes I'm like really enthusiastic and super confident and but sort of like yeah, party animal. Other times I'm sort of like crying in my bed because nobody liked my shoes. Maybe not something that. Do you think CIG should incorporate trade ins when with ship buying? I think that we will be able to sell our ships and gear and weapons and items and stuff in the future, and that's what we need. Why have the ships from 3.4? Why have the ships from 3. Why have the ships from 4.0 been removed? Any word on any new Crusader ships? So they are currently sort of like updating their roadmaps and rescheduling stuff. I expect a roadmap update probably at the for this weekend with a bit more information on what's going on with any Crusader ships and potentially salvage and stuff like that. Hey, bud. What do you think about the way bounty hunting is planned? Where when you capture a bounty, they automatically teleport to prison planet, and an AI of the player is left, and that's what you take to prison. Yeah, I mean, that would work. They'll do something relatively simple, so they could have you, as soon as you put a player in one of the bounty hunting pods or cells, then it just assumes they've been properly captured. And then you can transport them to a jail, to a police station or whatever. But they spawn immediately in the prison planet. Why did CIG drop the Legatus package off the store? I'm not sure if it's entirely dropped off or if it's just dropped off for some people. I can't see it anymore. Because it was ridiculously expensive? Do you think the billiards table and the basketball hoop will be usable one day? Yes, in some way, even if it's just to smash the balls around the table. I think they will have physics. So ray tracing, CIG have said with ray tracing support that they might look at it in the future when it becomes viable or sensible to do so. VR, after Vulkan support, they'll be looking at VR in slightly more sort of like slightly more earnest. How long until the roadmap update? For Friday. Typically around, was it 8 PM UTC sort of time? Between 8 and 10 PM? Isn't being bipolar a prerequisite of being a streamer and creator? Probably now. It's funny because it's kind of true. How long until the roadmap update? I've just read that. When will the new player status and inner thought-based control panels be updated as shown at CitizenCon? Please don't say 3.9. Some of that might be in 3.9 now, unfortunately. In the roadmap update today, they talked about that to some extent, and they said they're building it for new marriage and that sort of stuff. And it looks like that some of it might be in 3.9, but the building blocks and the new stuff they're putting in for the UIs and MFDs and stuff, there's going to be lots that come after that as well. I've heard that Chris Roberts said that they won't allow for pledge ships to be sold to NPCs. What? NPCs? What? NPCs aren't real. They don't have real money. What are you talking about? They won't be sold after a certain period of time? What? What? Do you mean new player characters rather than not NPCs? Eventually, when the game's live, they said they wouldn't be selling ships in the same way. So they sort of like said they'll sell UEC, the in-game currency, and they will sell game packages with certain ships, probably sort of like up to the constellation level. I would still expect them to sell concept ships potentially, in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there because we don't know yet. I want funny in-game TV shows and infomercials. I suspect we will have them. Is exotic animal trade still planned? There's plans to have animals in-game, and they've talked about having different atmospheres and different types of cargo container, potentially to carry them. But it's just, at the moment, it's all talk, if you see what I mean. Do you think that they will give me... I'm hoping that we have big game hunting and exotic animal and pets and all that sort of stuff in-game. Yes. Do you think that they will give my ping pong table conversion to pool table that I've been requesting? I hope that you can have a ping pong table. That would be perfect. What percentage of chat do you think likes your shoes? Oh. 90% of chat probably likes my shoes, even if they haven't seen them. I'm currently wearing sheepskin slippers, so apologies to any vegans. With the additions to the Crytek in the roadmap, are we possibly looking at pushback to 3.9? So they did say they wanted to release the Crytek a couple of times since being questioned, still in February. So, I mean, it's possible, but I think CIG would be really, really upset to do that. Do you believe Star Citizen would have looked better if it was written in a heavily modified version of the Unreal Engine? It would look different. If they'd started on the Unreal Engine, they'd probably still be on that same engine, and the game would be different. I mean, it's coulda, shoulda, woulda. Do I think they made the right choice by being on the Lumberyard Engine and the CryEngine? I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I like the Source engine, mate. Give me Source 2 any day. How do you fix offline raiding in Rust? Have it as a server rule. You can also have sort of like what I like the idea of is having explosives in Rust directly related to the damage being how many players are on the server. So you can even make buildings immune if players are offline and stuff. You can even have raiding it just at certain times. So only at certain times you can actually destroy walls and things. That's how you can fix offline raiding. The other way to do it is to have a really, really, really secure base. But raiding is part of the fun for me. So like small to medium scale raids, not huge scale ones. They're just mad. Will the James Webb Space Telescope be in the verse when the solar system is complete? I don't know. What do you want from me? Any thoughts on how the Defender will interact with the Merchantman? I think it will be able to lightly dock with it and be able to share its quantum fuel effectively and be able to rearm, refuel, and potentially repair. Maybe not land in it, just like perch on it or something. I am going to go in a second, so I'll answer these last few questions. I think you have to be at least a Wing Commander $10,000 plus to see the Legatus pack now. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you very much, Jaden Cattrall. Very much appreciated. Do you think the Tumble Ranger will be released this year? Yes, I do actually. I think we'll see it by the end of the year. I think they'll show it at CitizenCon. That's the sort of new ground vehicle. We're like, look at the new bike! And everyone's like, whoa, bike! Happy Monday, board. What features do you think will be mad over if they aren't on this year's roadmap? What features will I be mad over? Okay, I get it. I can words. I understand words. Salvage, pyro system, jump points. Those are the main ones I'd be the most mad about. Do you think we'll see the Vandal ships updated to their new looks prior to Squadron 42's release? Yes. They need to do the cockpits for the new updated ones, though, because the Vandal have different cockpits to the Asperia / captured one, I believe, because they're, you know, slightly modified for human use. And Vandal are a lot taller than us. No, there's no information on exactly what different types of food will do to our stamina, or if all food's just, it's just sort of like the player status system tracks hunger and thirst, and it doesn't matter what you drink. We could get mini buffs and debuffs based on what you drink and eat as well, potentially. What do you think about selling real-world company advertisement space in the game as a business model? I think it's a great idea as long as it's done correctly, because then you get companies being added to the game that have real in-game presence, that are all part of the lore, and you get really high-quality advertisements in-game, which again add to immersion, and they look really cool, and I like that sort of stuff. You have to choose who you work with and advertise with carefully. You have to make sure they all conform to these particular rules. And I like that, and then it makes more money for the game. I think that's a great idea. I'm sure there are some problems with it, but I haven't thought that far ahead. Do you think we'll see the Nix and Pyro system this year? They said the Pyro system. So the other systems they sort of like worked on, we know the Odin system, which is for Squadron 42. We know that they've got Delamar, which is supposed to go in the Nix system, Levski. The Nix system is logically on the way from Stanton to Pyro to Nix, going towards the Odin system. Sort of like if they want to chain that as the first few systems in the game that are all linked, sort of makes sense. Will we see it this year? I don't know. What will be the pacing of the game as we get closer to the end of the release? As in, how long would it take to make enough money to buy a Caterpillar in game? What is a good pace to you? I don't really know. It's going to depend on your organization size, the amount you're leveraging, your risk and reward, type of gameplay you're going for. There's a huge amount of factors there. So, I mean, in EVE, you could do something that could take you months, could take someone an hour. The Legatus pack is now 35,000. Thank you very much. When do you think we'll be able to collect animals and start a circus? I think you will be able to capture and hunt animals at some point. I'm not sure if you'll be able to start a circus. Fucking maybe. Why not? You can have it in your own sort of like hab or outpost. You can actually have animals in cages or animals rolling around. Maybe you can. Maybe there'll be farming and animal pens when it comes to arable farming. Maybe. Maybe. Gone mad now. Everything's technically a maybe. Did you know the Banner Merchant cargo space could be saved by making the ship only 5 meters wider? Let's see what they do with balance and stuff for that. So, you got to remember with the Banner Merchantman, it's going to have a cargo hold, but it's also going to have shops on board, which will have their own cargo space as well. Any info on the Constellation Taurus? No. It seems weird that it's not in the game yet and it's not on the roadmap. And some people, including me, have suspected that maybe CIG are doing a light rework to all the constellations at the same time. Maybe replacing the struts with sort of like the reinforced new glass that they've got with the Mantis, and doing some light interior rework stuff. It's a possibility. With the goal they have set with 100 systems, I actually think that Lore Team have got at least 120 down already. Don't you think the number is small when we get the subject when the subject of exploration comes up? No, because exploration, I mean, you are going to be looking for stuff, but it's going to be looking for points of interest, and some of those points of interest might be wormholes, might be short distance wormholes between the same system, might be other links that are short term or whatever, but it's going to be points of interest like asteroid fields and interesting alien artifacts or architecture or weird things in space. It's all these points of interest, and you'll be able to find them further and further out from any system. You see what I mean? So it's going to be about traveling. It's not about using jump points necessarily. Do you think base building will include all internal ship amenities like weapons and armor compartments and kitchens? I think it's going to depend on what outposts you build. Because you have a choice of outposts. I'm not sure how modular they'll be, but also you'll probably be able to eventually buy modular furniture and stuff for inside. I mean, that's the sort of customization they'll probably want. They are all in, indeed. Server meshing question mark? They'll be working on server meshing this year. They say they want to be almost ready to go with server meshing by the end of the year, so expect it maybe Q1 2021. Thanks for the answer. No worries at all. Right. Squadron 42, when? We don't know. They've still got a feature complete beta on the roadmap for Q3 2020. We'll probably see a bit more of an update to that when they finish their roadmap updates and stuff. Maybe later this week. That's what I'm hoping. It could possibly be that we get a Squadron 42 release at the end of the year. And it's incredibly optimistic. But we'll have to wait and see. Right. Love you all very much. Thank you so much for jumping in and spending a couple of hours with me chatting. I've got a load of information back from using this new form of streaming as well. So I'll fiddle around with that. I'll get it up to 60 FPS as well, because I think I only had it on 30. So apologies for that. And yeah, there's currently a poll on my community tab of my YouTube. Or was it? No, it might be on Twitter. Probably on Twitter. About what day should I stream, Monday or Tuesday. In the future, I'm going to be expanding to stream a lot more days. And we'll have we'll have some chatty streams and some more gameplay streams. I hope 3.8.1 is significantly more playable with less sort of like instability and desync. Desync's the killer for me. There's a lot of problems with 3.8 branch, which can cause some game-breaking stuff. But thank you very much for the love. Thank you very much for all the donations and the money and the subs. We will go and check out someone else's stream. Who else is streaming at the moment? On the Twitches. Bam. Noodle is streaming, so we'll give Noodle some love. No! I'm going to pause that. Nice Noodle. And we will see if we can raid him. No. Yes. /raid. Thank you very much for watching. Very much appreciated. Within the next sort of half an hour, probably within the next 10 minutes, there will be a video going live on my channel with a big monthly report summary update. What CIG are currently working on. Lots of their plans for 2020, and at least the short term for the next couple of months. So please check that out on my channel in the very, very, very near future. Thanks for watching, guys. You take care, and love you. Peace. Oh, that's me. Let me link your Moist Noodles channel. Bam. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon. Any questions that I see as well, I'll add to the list.